All right, brother.
What's up, man?
Welcome to the podcast officially.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah.
It's an honor.
This dope ass setup.
Here
Thanks
at
for
the
helping.
vault,
At the vault.
underneath the teller room at Strategic, our home quarters and home of the future vault. We might get some,
Who knows what's going to happen in there.
some ghost activity in the background.
Old man Teller himself might walk out of there.
Right.
When I used to work, no matter where I worked, I always say, I think that's old man. Anytime there'd be like a noise, I'm like, old man AMC. I used to say that when I worked with the movie theaters and stupid shit.
Old man AMC.
It's haunted.
Yeah, I think this would be an awesome room, especially once we get a little more developed and we could put punching bags and maybe like a dumbbell rack or some stuff in there to just go in the vault room and just hammer out some rounds. I think that'd be awesome.
I forgot that we even have this down there.
Yeah,
until you were walking me down and we decided to do it here. It's gonna be cool. There's still a lot of more potential to get out of this building.
Yeah, I think that's why they had their eyes on this, is because they knew there's opportunities to grow and just keep adding on.
It's gonna be sick. It's gonna be bad. Like, it's already badass, but
right.
Once this is all,
it'd be cool to spar in there too. The problem with that is the vault's a little short. So like our tall guys, it'd be good for us.
Yeah,
but the taller guys would not.
Well, technical difficulties, but we're back
in the game.
All right. So where do we want to start? I guess let's start with your upcoming fight, just to get that little bit out of the way. People know about it.
So January 17th, the Ameristar Casino in the new ballroom at the Ameristar in St. Charles, Missouri.
Right on. What number pro fight is this?
It'd be my third pro fight.
Okay.
Third pro fight. Altogether, amateur and pros, I'm over in my 20s altogether as far as total accumulation. The cool thing about this one, though, which I really like to do, is I've won amateur competition in my 20s, won in my 30s, and this is a chance for me to get some wins in my 40s too.
Okay.
So I could have MMA wins in my 20s, 30s, and 40s.
Probably like a select hand. I wonder what like the actual percentage of people that have wins and all.
I don't know.
All of those.
I don't have that many accolades, but this is a cool one I could hold on to. So I'm gonna shoot for it.
I have after fighting this year, I have like a new respect for anybody that. I've always had respect for martial artists and people that train, but there's like a whole nother. I don't know if it's just MMA. Like, I've done the kickboxing scene a little bit, but there's something. MMA is like a whole nother animal. I feel like, of nerves, and
I agree.
And maybe I haven't fought on any smaller cards. Like Shamrock, I feel is like does it good for like regional scene stuff.
Right.
So maybe the smaller cards would be a little less anxiety, but I'd prefer to fight on the bigger cards anyways.
Yeah, it's
more eyes. It's either way you're out there. I don't think the eyes matter once those doors shut. I think the eyes, that whole thing just kind of goes away.
Yeah, you got to constantly remind yourself of the smoke and mirrors that is happening. They're building up the hype and the spectacle to sell tickets and to create the illusion of how glorious everything really is. But at the end of the day, you got to remember we probably put ourselves in more danger in the gym than we do in the fights for a total of, at the amateur level, a total of 9 minutes, right? Versus your hours and hours in the gym, putting in the work against bigger people, more skilled people. Now you're going against someone our own size and close to our own skill level,
That's like when I'm down to like close to fight weight, I don't realize how small I am until like even just going against Tyrone, I like shoot a double on him and it's like hitting a brick wall. I'm like, God damn, but I'm like 135 and he's 70 or something, you forget.
Yeah, we smaller guys gotta stick together.
I'm probably walking 50, 55 right now, which is where I want to be. I feel like last two fights I was kind of down in weight.
Yeah, I don't even think you were hitting 145 the last fights, were you?
So that's what I would prefer, to be able to bounce close back to 55. So that's in this next one. I'm kind of trying to tweak my weight cut. Like, it went good. My weight cut did on last night. I didn't have to weight cut. The first one went well, but it's like, I'd rather get it right to where I'm back to close to 155 when I'm fighting.
Yeah. Whenever you started training with us, like, I wasn't at the gym the first day you came and someone was like, yeah, this guy named Devin came in. And whenever I trained with you back in like days of Piasol days, you were a lot bigger than me. So they're describing a guy that's smaller than me at the time. And I'm like, I don't know if we're talking about the same guy. Like the guy I remember was bigger. And he's like, no, he fights at like 135, 145. I'm like, man, I could have swore Devin was a lot bigger. But then once we finally see each other, I was like, okay, yeah,
I'm got skinny.
More. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Well, I was like, I was either into the gym. Well, back when I was in my early 20s, I was like both. I'd hit the gym and then come straight to the. Nowadays, I'd be dead, I think, trying that. But yeah, I was kind of more of a meathead back then, a little bigger.
It's a battle in itself, keeping muscle up, right?
Yeah, now it is.
Smaller weight classes, keeping the muscle up.
I feel like if I eat correctly and healthy, I feel like it's hard to keep muscle on. If I'm kind of lifting and then dirty bulking, eating whatever, I see myself start to like bulk a little bit, but it's so hard to put like clean muscle on. I think my metabolism still, I just turned 32. I feel like it's still pretty high. I feel like yours is the same. You're in your 40s and you're shredded, and you could probably get away with eating fast food once a day and still be pretty shredded.
The most I've ever been my whole life is 165. And that was during the COVID, and I wasn't active as much. I wasn't working during the day, putting 40-hour work weeks, and then training at night. I was lifting and basically sitting around a lot more.
So actually keeping
calories.
Actually
finally keeping the calories.
That's the thing. Like for that last fight, I was running like twice a day, training for fight camp. And like, I know I couldn't imagine how calorie deficient I actually was. Now that I've been kind of keeping an eye on my calories. Yeah. I was like, dude, I was probably way overtrained, and like going into that one, I wasn't in the gym as much because I'll give a little insight here. I think like 3 weeks out, I think I got ringworm on my chest, and I had some bumpy bumps pop up on my neck out because I was cross training in a few places.
Right, so you got to avoid the gym.
So I didn't want to we had just opened up here, and I wasn't trying to fucking bring it back to, you guys were also in fight camp. So I'm like, fuck, like I don't want to bring it back to our gym, and then you guys get it. It's so decisions. I just had to like stick with cardio and training at home for like basically the last 3 weeks. And then all that stuff with your antibiotic, and I was on antibiotics too. So that's not very ideal during fight camp. But so yeah, I battled that, but I didn't tell anybody. I was like, oh, I'm that stinky guy now. Like got the funk, worm. Got the funk on me. But yeah, so I dealt with that a little bit. That kind of sucked.
Yeah, man, it's life battles.
That's it. And anybody that's been on the mats kind of has dealt with that. I feel like at one point in time, ringworm.
Back in the day, I ended up getting ringworm on my freaking head. I was like near my forehead. Ended up getting a cut at work, and then trained with the cut from work, and training with it. Ended up getting ringworm, and I never had it before, so I didn't really realize what it was until it's really a problem. And then you're like going to the doctor, like, what is going on here? It was just super itchy and no fun. So. Yeah. Cleanliness is next to godliness for sure.
No, I remember
I wash up a lot now.
I was talking to a buddy, and I was like, I was telling him, I'm like, I haven't really, leading up to the fight, I haven't been in the gym really because I have this. And he cross trains right. He's like, yeah, there's some of that going around my gym. And I was like, yeah, no shit. That's where I fucking got it from. I was like, oh, well, I've done, like I said, we had it go around. I had impetigo in high school. And my headgear we had to wear headgear during practice. I don't know if high school still makes it, but like Gavin does the club wrestling, and it's optional. Like during practice, It's optional. Obviously in tournaments you have to wear it, but I kind of like that because, dude, I got a scab here, and it was going around the room, and then before you know it, half of my face is like pussing scabs.
Red.
Then I have ringworm on my head, like you said, but it was in my scalp, so I just thought I had I'm like 13. I just thought I had dandruff, you know. Right. And then I go to get this checked out, and I'm like, hey, there's a spot on my head. And I was like, so I had a double dose my very first time with it. I'm like, fuck that.
Ouch.
But yeah, that's no fun. But yeah, that was all due to my headgear because you had to wear it, and it just peel your scabs off every time you put that shit on.
Yeah, so I definitely appreciate the cleaner gyms. After you get it once, you're like, okay, now I understand why you want to clean up.
And I feel like if you've got a lot of traffic in and out, you got to make sure you're in between classes.
Right. And depending on what gym you are in, not every gym requires the cleanliness stuff that I feel like our circle of jiu-jitsu gyms require. Like, don't walk in the bathroom with barefoot and expect the germs not to follow you back onto the mats, you know?
So wrestling, you've seen it. I'm probably some jiu-jitsu tournaments, but wrestling has like the fucking mat you step on, the wet mat, and it like has the stuff in it. So you just step in before you get on the mat, and it like disinfects your shoes, and then you hop on the
next
mat.
Level.
But dude, so when Gavin first, he grew up wrestling and like grappling before he got in the kickboxing scene. And I can't remember who else I was telling that was a grappler, and they were with me when I was first getting into kickboxing. We're at one of those tournaments, and I go into the bathroom to change, I think, because there was no like locker room. And I tell them, like, check this out. I was like, look at people's feet in here. I'm like, there's a difference between strikers and grapplers. I was like, grapplers will not fucking go like barefoot off of the mat.
No.
And we walked in the bathroom, dude, there's dudes out and they're pissing in their bare feet. And like strikers are a different breed.
Strikers are in the gravel parking lots with no shoes on, getting just their feet destroyed.
I think it's because like what's like the worst you get maybe is like athlete's foot or something, you know, like your whole body's not like, you're not rolling around on the fucking.
You're not spending majority of your time with your face getting
smashed
into the ground.
But it is, you can tell who also grapples and who is just a straight striker by that at tournaments.
Because their feet are clean. Dirty feet.
So you start like I said, we met, like I said, I was probably 13 when I started going to Paisar, 12. Zadolak brought me there. So I probably knew, like met you back then, I would imagine. Because you've been at Paisal, when did you start?
Well,
or was Taekwondo your first?
When I was a kid, I took a couple, like maybe like a month of classes when I was a kid, just trying it out. And it was with Sonny back when he was starting things out, you know, and I got beat up by a girl and then decided to quit. And then she hit me in the stomach really, really hard. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? You know, I didn't want anything to do with it. So I stopped training then. I wish I would have kept into it, but I stayed involved with other sports. So I was always competitive, but I always kept that white belt and yellow belt like technique and practiced it a lot at home.
Okay.
So I still enjoyed like martial arts and kicking and all that stuff. And we were skaters as well. So the whole martial arts and Wu-Tang and skating was just kind of like a whole collaborative thing, you know.
It's like it's like a disciplined rebellion.
Yeah, you know, like you gotta like at least do something to keep yourself. And not only that, like living in areas where fights can happen, you don't want to get caught off guard. And being a smaller person,
so that's where so talking to Dylan, I know Tyrone had a little bit more of a background. Dylan didn't have a background, which that like threw me off. Right. I know you did because you're like a big martial arts movie guy too. And then like you just said, like our age, I feel like I scrapped a lot growing up. Like I've had more like beefs on the street than I've competed, I think. Like,
it definitely changes things. If you've ever been in a street fight, it's gonna, before you get into the MMA world, you can just tell the people who have been. Some people have been in too many street fights and they don't know how to play sport.
I've seen that
and
too.
Then they lose because they're just all street fighter and then they don't realize it's a game.
I didn't see it. I luckily missed this tournament, but a guy I was coaching at the time for point kickboxing, he signed up, and his mom's brother, so his uncle, like who used to box back in the day, also was like, oh, you're doing that? I'll sign up too. So he signed up.
Oh.
So from what they told me is they go out, the bells ring. There's a point tournament, bell rings, and this dude like just like blacks out and like and just charges this like teenage kid, you know, and just mauls him over. So then they get him back up and they're like, dude, like it's, you know, kickboxing tournament, you can't just like tackle it, dude. So they get him again, same thing, bro. They had to like pull like 3 refs to pull this dude off. And like I just thought it was so funny.
He turned red.
Like you said, he don't know how to play point.
He turned red. He's those guys, I can't do those because I just turn red. You know those guys.
But before I fight, sometimes like if I get nervous, I'm like, there's a ref there. Like I'm one of those people, like growing up, my ego's gone down a little bit. I'm not, now that I'm a dad, but I'm still, if you catch me at the right time, like if somebody was like, you're a bitch, let's fight. Like I'm probably going to fight you. Like, even if it's on the street, like, and maybe if I got my kids with me and stuff, I'm going to walk away and be smart. But like, so fighting a dude in an octagon who is basically saying like, I can beat this dude. I'm just like, all right, like that's cool.
We could do it.
Not as
gentlemen, we could sign an agreement to go out there and test ourselves.
And that's how the guys I grew up with were. We all kind of like never back down was big when we were like middle school. So we all fought each other growing up, all kind of my age group guys. So we were all kind of scrappy.
I played soccer. So, you know, I did a lot of running, got my shins kicked a lot. I played hockey. So playing hockey, you're a lot of off balancing things. getting hit a lot, and hockey has fighting where you're actually allowed to fight. So that was another thing. And then skating, which is something I kind of turned into after the middle school area, when I wasn't trying to play sports for a team anymore. I thought I was cool enough, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I was trying to be a cool kid and not play the school stuff. And anyways, we skated through the town. And being a skater, you're around adults and other junkies and other stuff. So you got to know how to fight. And sometimes you do have to fight and protect yourself, but it was more dumb fights and kids, nothing like we're doing now. But I feel like there's a close relationship to the jiu-jitsu world and why I love jiu-jitsu and why I found love with the skating world. And the reason why I say that is because when you go to skate, and we'll just say, for instance, you want to jump down some steps and grind on the rail, and then you finish your move, right? That's your move. There's many different ways that I could jump up and do the move. I could just jump up and be real boxy and do a basic front slide down the rail and do my trick. Or you see someone else in a video do something off the wall where this guy does a 180 and does a front slide. And then the next guy's like, well, I'm going to top that. Now I'm going to do a 360.
So we were talking about skating and jiu-jitsu and martial arts kind of blending into each other.
How like the relationship between them are the same. So there's many different ways that you could do a move. Like say if you're going to do a move down some steps, I could jump up and do a basic front slide. I could jump up and make it a complicated grind where I cross my legs and go down the rail. I could make it even more beefier by doing maybe a 540 into a complicated grind. So there's many different ways you could do it. Some guys want to be more complex. Some guys just do a simple thing and make a simple move just look so sweet. And we add style to it, right? You add style to your moves, and you just something about the style that just makes you want to like adore the art of skating, right? I feel like that's the art form. And in skating, you try the same move hundreds of times, fail in a majority of your time skating, right? So the majority of the time you're skating, you are failing. It's one time you do an ollie, you feel like a pro skater, right? But I tried an ollie 30 times, two or 3 days, maybe 4 months, and never got it because I sucked at skateboarding. I was better at rollerblading, but some people get it faster. But you can see where in jiu-jitsu is the same way, where if I'm trying to move, I'm failing a majority of the time in jiu-jitsu. You're getting beat up, you're getting submitted, you're getting destroyed by smaller guys and less experienced people, bigger people, so the sport humbles you in a way, and it keeps you wanting to keep going for more and more and more, right?
Yeah, I can see that. I like that.
And in jiu-jitsu, you could add style to it as well, right? You could be a basic wrestler and just hold them down and get your points and win the fight, or you could add some style to it and do some fancy barambola roll, or, some fancy buggy choke or rubber guard or whatever the new fad is, And
like you said, there's like dudes who like are masters at the basic who make the basics look like sick.
Make it look so freaking good, like the simplest things.
I suck at skating myself. Gavin went through I tried when I was younger, not good. Gavin went through a stage, and I got to where I can do a pop shove it, I think. He taught me one move that I actually could land. And other than that, I like cruiser boards because I got good balance. Right. I just can't do the tricks. So I prefer to cruiser board around. But he had a phase. He was actually starting to get pretty good, and then he just kind of phased out of his skater stage he was in, But I liked skating. Me, him, I call my buddy Mike up, and we just go down to Grafton and shit. And we just skate around like Pierre Marquette and stuff.
Yeah, it's just as kids, we just get out in town and take advantage of the streets that we're in. We didn't have a lot of fields.
Camaraderie.
Like Upper Alton's not a lot of, fields. And I would get that at my cousin's house, go to my cousins in the country areas and get to enjoy the country life too. But when I'm at home, or in the streets, what do we do? Play basketball and play sports, football, and then skate. And then back in our days, we had the skating high too, because it was shunned upon, and we were bad kids too, and littering and being bad. So I understand why they didn't want us tearing up their property, but we didn't have skate parks like they do now, right? So I wish we had skate parks back in our days. We probably would have went a lot further with it.
Yeah, it's nice. I feel like they had that one in Bethalto for a while, and they ended up shutting it down. But the one in like Wood River is always popping. I feel like I've cracked my elbow a couple times racing Gavin back, skating, fall off in front of everybody.
And then they got the concrete one down in Alton now.
Over there
by Fast
that one's
Eddie's.
always popping too.
That's pretty cool too. I like that.
Yeah, that's it. I've noticed that with coaching lately. I've been coaching a lot more this year, jiu-jitsu, and then just beginners jiu-jitsu and an advanced class here and there, and they need me to cover. But and then I've also been teaching a few guys how to do windshields at work. And I've been noticing lately, like the way I coach people to do windshields is exactly the way I coach jujitsu in a way, like my like demeanor and attitude and like, I'll show you this. And then you got to kind of figure out your technique towards it. Like it's just kind of funny. The other day I was just like,
the parables.
I think my coaching is starting to become a better coach a little bit.
Yeah. There's forgot what famous martial artist guy who said this, but it was like, once you master one art, you understand the elements to master all arts.
Yeah.
Right. And that could be applied to everything you do, which is another reason why we like it so much. Right. Because we find ourselves that as soon as you start mastering something, everything else around you, you could apply these same strategies and you're like, okay, now I'm doing better at helping people coach and wash windows now. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I've noticed.
My biggest problem is turning the coach switch off sometimes. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because being a dad and coaching, like sometimes I just need to live.
That's what with Gavin, I try not to coach his wrestling too much. He has his coaches, but I just kind of let him have his style.
Right.
Same with his kickboxing. And I've seen it growing up in wrestling. I've seen the dads. I've seen my buddy was an amazing wrestler. And if he lost a match, his dad would fucking leave. Like he would get up and leave and be gone the rest of the tournament. Dude. And that's like, seeing that stuff, I was just like, man, like I do not want to be like that. And then you got your dads who I just don't get down on them. All I tell them is go out there and try your hardest.
Right.
That's all you can do. And then you won't be disappointed in yourself if you do that.
Yeah. Try to be the encouraging dad and tell them it's okay to.
There are times I'm up there like
you can.
I gotta keep it in though.
Yeah. The only time I ever get on my kids is when they like beat up themselves. Like they try to beat up themselves. Then I kind of try to step in and interject like, hey, this, that, and other happened. It's not
exactly
you think you suck. It's just you had a bad day. It is what it is.
I always, I guess I'll drop a story. Like this is the one I tell Gavin anytime he gets beat, I guess high school. And then this gets brought up if I run into anybody I wrestle with, high school coach, anybody. So it would have been like conference. I got my ass kicked you have to wrestle every conference team. And I got my ass kicked all day, like close matches, but got beat. And so I'm pissed off at myself. I draw this kid our last match, and he's a little slow, like a little on the slower side. I don't think he's ever won a match in his life. Not handicapped enough to where like he can't move his body. He knows he's wrestled, but he's just, so all my friends are like, bro, you're going to smoke this kid. Like you're lucky. And I'm just having a bad day. I was like, guys, I don't got a bad feeling about this. And they're all like, dude, just go out there and pin him. So we go out, we tie up, and I go for a duck under on this kid. Well, apparently the only move he's ever been taught or that he's good at is a headlock hip toss. So I feed the arm up. He snags my fucking head. Boom. Whips me down in front of a gym packed full of people and pins me in 20-something seconds. And this gym goes crazy, bro. I mean, the kid is his first win and it's his last match ever. Last high school match. Gym goes crazy. Everybody freaks out, bro. I lost it, man. I was crying and just had a mental break. And they're always like, I guess this isn't appropriate to say, but they're always like, my coach would be like, "We're at time you got beat by that retarded kid." Like, dude, no matter what I do, that will always be brought up. So anytime Gavin's down, I'm like, bro, you didn't get pinned by a mentally challenged kid and you were trying and I was trying. So
it's never gonna be as bad as me.
Yeah, there's you can only go up from there, I think.
Right.
But what I tell people is that it was divine intervention. God himself stepped down and pinned me for that kid.
He needed a win. He put it in his time in the art of wrestling. It was his time to get his glory in his last match too. I mean, that's an epic story too. He's probably still talking about that story.
Oh, I know. And I think his parents, they got it on video.
Right.
So yeah, at the time it was a big hit to my ego, but now I've gotten older. I'm like, it taught me a lot of humility and humbled me, I would say. Yeah. I mean, I've been humbled all day that day. Oh, yeah. Probably didn't need that to cap it off, but it did it.
Life does plenty to humble us, for sure. But that's cool. Who knows? He might see you become a successful fighter, and then he's like, "Man, I did something cool back in the day. I actually, pinned that guy," and gives him some, some strange.
That's what I'm. We can only hope. I hope it did. Okay, so you got into skating. When did you transition back into Taekwondo or martial arts?
So after graduating high school, going to school, become an auto and diesel mechanic, came back home, and then had my first child. And so I was fresh 20s, and then being a single dad with a young daughter, trying to get my shit together, right? So then I decided I needed something better than just going out and looking for parties. And in your 20s, everybody just wants to go to the bars. So I'm looking for a different crowd, people to hang out with, some people to do something different and hopefully something positive to where I'm not just beating myself up. And I also noticed that with the drinking, the more I drank, the more like sadness, depression, and things like those would work into my life. And so I was trying to separate myself from those things. And then I started training, and then just kind of fell in love with it, like the camaraderie. And first gym was with Pyasol and Sonny. And Sonny's, not only is he a great teacher, but he's a great, you could say, a preacher too at times. And he's good at helping people find themselves and helping everyone kind of be their best And so I think that the more I've trained in the martial arts, the more I started getting away from the bad things. I'm like, well, this is a good thing. I'm going to move towards the better things that are creating better outcomes, especially trying to be a father and trying to provide. And so, it's a lot of stuff to take on in your early 20s, And from there, I was training there, and some other guys were competing in martial arts. And so I seen Chappell, shout out to Chappell, he was doing some competition and he was being successful, And I'm like, well, he's doing this stuff. That looks kind of fun. And if the first time one of your training partners goes into a ring or competition and you watch them, there's a certain feeling of yourself that kind of goes into the cage or the fight or whatever. When you first go to your first MMA fight, especially, you feel like a piece of you is in there with them. So whenever my training partners are fighting and being successful, it's like, maybe I could do this too, And deep down inside, I always still had that athletic side of me. Like I always wanted to be a pro skater, never became a pro skater. I always wanted to be like a professional soccer player, hockey player, or I wanted to be a football player, but I was told I was too small. So I didn't ever want to do that, but I always wanted to do something athletic. That was my ambitions as a child. This looked like a way for me to kind of step my foot into competition in my 20s,
Mm-hmm.
And I just, as much as I fight and compete, the days where I'm just trying to better myself are a lot more in abundance. So that just makes me kind of want to keep chasing it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The window's a little shorter, so you want to get some cool shit.
Yeah.
Do some cool shit.
Yeah, especially when you get older, and especially amateur MMA in my late 20s, it was like my goal in my 20s was like, I got to be pro by 30s, like I was chasing the wrong things. I got to be pros by my 30s. And I forced some fights, went a little too fast, took too many fights, went against my coaches,
there's a lot
of advice.
These guys are crazy nowadays. They take like fights like every 2 months. Like
I did fights every 2 months. The first year of my amateur fights, 6 fights that first year, and moved in and out of 5 different houses, in and out of different relationships, terrible lifestyle, and things were just on a rocky road. And that's how I started my amateur career. So and you want to talk about stress and everything else, I've lived that for sure. Being in your early 20s, trying to get a job, I filed bankruptcy, trying to get out of your dad's house, your basement or your parents' house, trying to pay child support, trying to find time to raise your kids, that's
probably a lot of it.
And then trying to find a relationship too, because, you want a partner in crime to do this stuff with, so trying to do all that stuff.
Who isn't mad that you're not there 85% of the time because you're
right
at work and then getting ready for a fight.
Yeah, and then you go bald in your early 20s. You're like, what the heck's going on here? Like, well, I'll do MMA. Maybe that'll help me be appealing to the women.
Yeah, a good support system, and then like in your early 20s is rough. I had Gavo at 18, so I lived with my parents for most of my early 20s with him. But just being a single dad, I only had him on the weekends back then, but being like a full-time parent and trying to manage stuff like that. And I can see why these guys are taking, if you're hungry and you're trying to pay bills and fighting is your way of paying bills, then yeah, you are taking a fight every month and a half or two.
Yeah.
And
it took me a while to figure that out too. My goal in the beginning was, one of those perfect stories, this guy's broke and he started fighting. And 2 years later, he's fighting in the UFC. You know, I could do this, and my kids. You know, I could do this for my daughter, and I could actually see her. And I thought that's what it was. And I took sacrifices and didn't take my career more serious. And I think, you know, God bless Mr. Hatton for. I didn't listen at first, but it eventually got to me. It was like, you know, fighting's fun, but you got to find a way to provide for yourself too, because fighting is not going to pay the bills. You know, very few people make it to that level.
He's someone good to have in your corner for philosophy and just life advice. Yeah. He always calls me Beardo. Now that the beard's back, I'm sure he'd say it again.
Yeah, I know this is messed up. I feel like for everybody in the podcast, I had my beard started
at my last fight.
At his last fight. And if you look at his last fight, he didn't have a beard at all, I don't think. He just had a stash.
It was a little beard.
Small, just a stash and a small beard. Now I feel like your beard's thicker than mine already, dude.
It's a curse, bro. I've been eating freaking maple syrup in my mustache and shit. Syrup.
I need to put something in it.
So in your early 20s would have been like, what, early 2000? Is that right? Early 2000s? Is that when you kind of first started fighting?
Yeah,
mid 2000s?
I would say my first fight's around 2009, 2010.
Okay.
I say that because I made a mixtape in 2008 because I did music too. And I got in a bad accident where I had a terrible trauma in my face where 3 plates in my face, 20 screws.
Oh, shit.
I had my face wired shut, my jaw wired shut. It sucked really bad.
Yeah, that does not sound.
Yeah. And so I just started training martial arts, and then I had that happen. Terrible night, went out drinking with some friends, and we were all buddies and I was trying to stop 2 of my other friends from fighting. And then for whatever reason, one of my other friends jumped in and it took all of his aggression out on me, whooped the shit out of me, fucked my face up. And then I wake up going to the hospital. Like, I don't even remember the fight or anything. So it's a total dark, blacked out moment. But, 3 plates in my face. And at that point I was like, cause I was kind of like, maybe I want to do an MMA fight before, like a bucket list thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever you're in the hospital, like, I felt like I got all that taken from me.
Yeah.
And so whenever I got done with it, my doctor, and I bullshit you not, my doctor's name was Dr. Wu, right? And you know how I love Wu-Tang in my life. So it was like an omen to me. It was like Dr. Wu. And I was talking to Dr. Wu when I'm getting my mouth, you know, speaking like through the wire, like Kanye, I got the wire loose in my mouth. I was able to open my mouth finally. I'm like, Dr. Wu, do you think I could still compete in kickboxing or anything like that? You know, like in MMA? And he was like, oh yeah, you can go back to there. And that day on, I was like, all right, I'm back. You know, the beat dropped, RZA came in, bomb. I went at it.
Yeah. So what was the early MMA scene like around regional around here? I'm sure it was wild. I've heard
there was Illinois fights back in the day before Illinois raised the insurance and screwed.
Is that what it is? Is that why it's so hard to get a license in Illinois?
Couldn't hold me to it, but I believe it had money to deal with insurance. They raised the price on insurance a lot in Illinois.
There's like very few promotions.
So like at that point, all the Illinois promotions just basically stopped.
Okay.
Like Cage Ready was one of them.
I remember watching their fights.
Like Cage Ready had fights down at the Bluff City Grill in the parking garage.
That was supposed
to be my very first fight.
I remember the one where Chuck slammed that dude and knocked him out fucking cold.
Yeah.
That was sick. Yeah. That was one of I was like 8th grade at the time. I was just like, oh shit.
That shit was cool. That was really cool. In a parking garage.
Dude, and then like that shit, like if it gets slick, you know, like the mat would, because it's outside. So if it's a little dewy, like that shit can get so wild.
Yeah, I've seen guys, they were wanted to take a fight. They couldn't find anyone to fight them. The only guy they could fight was like 15 pounds heavier. They weigh in with concrete boots on, like their work boots, not concrete, but like boots they work in doing concrete work. So they're dirty and filthy. They come in wearing those so they can get them to the scale and fight. I mean, you've seen a lot of wild things. And the fight scene back then was a lot less crowd and amped up and entertainment purposes, you know. Mm-hmm. But there was a lot of good, solid people around here that kept the sport going and kept it. Like, that's where I found Jim Jenkins was one of the first promoters that I started fighting under. He was a good guy too. And then Finney's kind of take over and kind of put a lot more money into it. And then all the other smaller promotions just slowly died out. And now it's Finney's and then we got NFA, and then making their stance.
Ricky was running knuckled up. He keeps hinting about maybe kicking it back up. I don't know if he's going to or not.
But they're a little further away though, right?
Yeah, but they'll do some shows at the Lake of the Ozarks and shit like that, which it'd be kind of cool to
Right.
Get a condo out there for a week and go out there and fight or something,
Back in the day, there was fights in Bethalto. There was fights even at the casino, Alton Bell Casino.
You do them like
at Lumiere.
Kind of like they do the like fake wrestling matches. Now you could have a MMA fight at a KC hall, and like
Shady Jacks.
The
ghost.
Dun, 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 dun.
You got it. The ghost. Are back.
I told you they're gonna get spooky.
Spooky.
Okay.
But yeah, and then I feel like because of those smaller promotions that it's because we have what we have today, So you got to give props to the smaller promotions and back in the day.
Paved the way for the bigger ones.
For everybody. That's where I got my knockout with. That was in the ballroom. The ballroom in St. Charles. As soon as you go over there, it's like to the right. We had a really big cage too in that room.
Is that the one that made it on like Boss Rutan's show or whatever?
Yeah. So the 13-second knockout was awesome. Back in the day, we didn't have cool cameras and to where people would show you what you did. And after your fight, everybody's trying to like speculate what I did. Like, hey, you did this. Like, John, what did you do? And I honestly couldn't tell people. And so I never really came out. And I was more of like, man, I think I did this. I think I did that. Like, I know I kicked him in the head, but I can't really remember what I did. Some people were like, he Superman punched him, Some people were like, he did this. And some people were like, he did a flying jump back dick twist. Like, everybody had their own opinion of what happened. So it took 2 months for the actual footage to get back to me. And then we finally got to see the video. And then like the guy who made the videos called me up and was like, hey, you got to see this. This is pretty
What
badass.
was it again? I remember it was a kick, right?
So I kicked him. So I jumped in the air, did like a fake front snap kick, and then kicked him with my back leg. The back leg comes in, kicks, and then as I'm falling down, I followed through with a jab and a cross.
Okay.
So it was kind of like
a flurry of things.
Yeah. And I never practiced that move ever. ever practiced that move. So that was just one of them things where it was like you just let the technique present itself.
In the flow state.
You just flow state. And I was only a green belt in Taekwondo. Barely had any experience in jiu-jitsu, just with Ben, So I had like a year of just no-gi experience with a bunch of other guys that are no-gi guys, And it came out, Sonny always had us teaching, like when we do our kicks, to follow it with a 1-2. Well, in Taekwondo, it'd be like a back fist reverse punch, but a 1 and a 2 after you kick. So I feel like after I kicked him, I was just falling down into the 1 and the 2.
Yeah.
And when I did it, it reminded me of being on a float trip and you and your buddies are getting ready to jump off like a big bluff into the water and your friends just jumped and you're nervous and you don't want to jump, but your friends already jumped. So you have to jump. I feel like I was in that cage. I was getting ready to jump off the cliffs and I just jumped into the fucker's face. And that's where my skating came in. I feel like I was jumping and about ready to skate on his face. And just all happened all at once.
That was a crazy one.
And then
now I feel like, bro, if that had been nowadays, that thing, it blew up for then.
Yeah.
Nowadays that one would have really, I feel like, blew up.
One of my buddies, Brad, Sarcastic, he made a YouTube video and like we put some of my vocals in one of the songs we made together. And so like it was like one of my songs with the knockout, and then we sent it into oh my bad, I gotta take it back. So he sent the video in to Strange Music because my walkout song was to one of Tech Nine's songs. It was a song called Seepage by Tech Nine. And I came out to it. So the original video has the actual walkout. And so it plays Tech Nine's song. And then like I go out there and I do the knockout. And so he shared it to the Strange Music, which is Tech Nine's music label, to their like fan page. And that's where it took off the first.
Oh, okay.
So everybody's like, man, look at this. He came out this Tech Nine Seepage and this happened, the knockout happened. So it got like 30,000 views or something real quick.
That's dope.
Then about a year or two later, after watching Inside MMA, they would have send in your own videos. So I sent in the video finally. Yeah, it was like I said, a year or two after it happened. And then that's when it got put on Inside MMA. And it made like top 5 of the week against all the pro fights in the whole world. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember when I'd first seen it. It was when it was going around then. I was like, "This
felt like
crazy."
A little kid. I was watching it on TV. It was a show called Inside MMA, and we didn't have streaming platforms, so I had to.
That was like the go-to. That was like the go-to.
So
it was like Access Channel or something back then.
I happened to pull up my phone and record a little piece of it, and they said my name, and Boss Rutan because after my fight, I kind of like, bowed and did my thing. And then Boss Rutan kind of looked over in the camera and bowed. And, like, I felt Boss Rutan bow to me.
Bro. That's so sick.
I was like, oh, shit, this is so badass.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a highlight.
Like you said, that's like
my
a
career.
little dream come true kid moment.
Yeah. It was pretty dope.
Just looking through our stuff here.
But yeah, so Boss bowed to me. That's pretty cool. Maybe one day I'll meet him. And I'll be like, hey, remember that knockout way back in the day?
Remember Boss? Yeah, Boss would be cool to meet. I've met some cool ones.
Yeah, he was fighting back when they were fighting with boots on. He was able to kick people with boots on and shit.
Yeah, and then his old open hand stuff was crazy.
Yeah, open hand strikes, open hand liver shots, right?
Yeah, those were crazy. Those were like, was that pancration fighting?
And he could submit people. He was leg locking shit out of
people. He fought that dude that wore like a lucha libre mask. I think.
I haven't seen that one, but
I don't know if it was him who fought him, but there was a dude who fought back then and he wore the mask. And there was a fight, he got the literal shit beat out of him. I could not imagine being in a mask while getting the shit beat out of me. I'd be like, bad. I'd be fucking ripping
suffocated. Yeah, I feel like I'm getting suffocated.
I finally got a new mouthpiece in my last fight, so I didn't feel claustrophobic. The one I had before, like, since I got my wisdom teeth, my first fight, I had my wisdom teeth taken out, and I never got a new mouthpiece. So my fucking shit had all shifted, and that's why I tossed my mouthpiece out like 3 times. Because I, if we're hard sparring, I'll train the mouthpiece, but if we're just working, I rarely put it in. Until I bite the fuck out of my tongue, and then I start wearing it for a couple weeks again. But so I could actually breathe, and I know it was a short fight, but I could actually breathe with my mouthpiece in. That was kind of nice.
Got a proper fitting mouthpiece.
Because that first one, it was like as soon as I started taking deep breaths, I just felt like it was just not right. I just tossed that thing.
Yeah, the mouthpiece stuff will get you.
So you Taekwondo. When did you start going? Because that's Paisaw, which I'll give a shout out to Paisaw. Back then, that MMA room was, like you said, Chappell was in there, Brock was in there, you were in there. That was
Mark, Chuck would come in,
Yeah, that was a pretty tough, and you'd have like me and Cody, your little 12, 13-year-olds in there.
Tough-ass wrestlers come in and put us in our place.
Those were tough rooms, bro. I remember versing this dude at Paisaw. He was like an older dude. He wasn't a fighter, but he'd train in the class. He was pretty tough, but he I took him down like 2 or 3 times, and afterwards he's like, "You're a pretty squirrely guy." And I remember that pissed me off. I'm like, "I'm not a squirrely motherfucker. I just took your ass down. What do you mean squirrely?"
Yeah, he was an arm lock master back then. I remember just getting arm locked by you guys a lot. Fuck, I just gotta keep my arms away from this guy.
Dude, I've gone through so many phases of like my grappling style, and now I feel like it just all like has just blended together.
Right.
And it's still a weird. I'm still like caught in this, and when it comes to grappling, like this between a point style and a submission style and a wrestler, like all that. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what way I'm going. I almost need to decide sometimes. I'll get in a match and I'm like, am I just trying to like outpoint this guy? Am I like hunting the submission? Sometimes I just like that. It's because I like the flow. I just get in there. I'm like, whatever. But sometimes you need that game plan to follow.
Yeah, I like how you were talking a couple of weeks ago, how you were saying some days you kind of just, when you're sparring, you kind of just flip different stylistic guys in your head. Like you switch to a different fighter, right? And that kind of helps you like categorize all the chaos of all these different moves that you do know.
Yeah, I like, I like doing that. Like I said, I like to, if I'm really got a guy I want to walk down, I'll think like Nikki Holtzkin, and I'll just trudge in, with a good guard. And then if I'm like really wanting to move, I'll think like Wonder Boy, and I'll start blading out. Yeah. And I need to start doing that a little more in my fights. That last one, if you watch us, like we angle off, like we switched stances on each other like a few times. Like,
right.
That was what was weird. He had that weird
process.
Yeah. We were kind of that fill out, both angle and switching. I caught him with the leg kick when he kind of went to angle out, and he was doing that weird fucking old school, like hand down by the side swirling.
Trying to go low.
I just remember like analyzing, like a robot, like everything. Like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like,
throwing me off with this. Did some magic sorcery on
fuck, dude. I think that kid. I was telling Gavin, he needs to do that fucking dirty boxing. Like he'd be perfect at that. Like, like you can just stand over him. You can't like full grapple engage. I feel like that dude fucks some people up at that.
Yeah, let them hands.
That's the way I'd be going.
Yeah, he probably kicks some ass.
Because I think he's gonna have a good future, but he's gonna run into wrestler, I think, that's going to get him some trouble for sure.
Right.
Even though he's training wrestling, but he's got a lot to make up for that.
Yeah, it's hard to catch up to the wrestling scene.
And that's what I've had so many people I don't even watch fighting, like, man, if he would have just got down on top of you, I feel like you could have been able to get to his back. I'm like, yeah, in an ideal world.
Yeah, it's hard to.
Dude, I watched. I was scrolling through my phone the other day, and it was a video of, it's from Brian, I think, but it's you guys in the corner when in my first fight, and it's like you coaching, and you're just like, get the underhook, baby. No, I get the underhook. You're like, work up, baby. I work up. You're like, oh yeah, baby. Like the whole thing. It was so funny, but like it's like perfect coaching. Like you telling me, it's like perfect. Tell me what to do. I'm on it. I'm like up, and just like it was that little bit where I was on bottom and got out, and then we like started scrapping it. But
the process is there.
But yeah, it was like perfect steps to getting up and out.
You were out there keeping your ears open and listening.
I could hear you. I could hear you guys that time. Last fight, I feel like I could not hear you.
Yeah, I got zoned.
I feel like there was no quiet. It was all like so loud, and then the fight.
Yeah, especially when you get to circling 2 or 3 circles around and nothing happens. It's just like, all right.
One of us has got to go, like that type of feeling.
And then you say to yourself, you're like, damn it, I'm one of them fighters in the fights. I always told myself I never would do this. You're like, I always told myself I would not be the guy who sits around for a whole minute and doesn't touch each other.
I know, that's what I think. I'm like, should I have just fucking stayed away and just circled for a whole nother minute? You know, like, I don't know.
What happened.
But then there's that part of me like where it's like, we're here to fight, so let's just fucking get in there and fight. Like, I don't know.
That's what happened was meant to happen, and for you to look at and learn from and to grow, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, a loss upsets you, but I think I've learned enough through just life and then consistently training through life, and then adding that in ways to deal with challenges and stuff to know that, like I said, you get knocked down and it doesn't matter. I mean, you're trying. A lot of people don't even try.
Gets rid of the stress too, of the stress level of being hit, you know, because I think that's one of the biggest things that keeps people back at a younger age is the fear of getting hit. Right? They want to fight, but they don't want to get hit. They go out there and they're throwing the strikes, but then as soon as they get done throwing, they kind of just turn away and hide because they don't know what to do.
I think they
don't want to be hit. Once you get hit, you understand it's not the end of the world.
Exactly. And the first fight, I think that's where I need to flip that. First fight I did, that last one I didn't flip it, like the fight switch. I felt like I was more sport fighting, I guess, because nothing really happened. It just so quick. But like, I feel like that way I know like I'm going to get hit most likely. But what he does it's not going to put me down.
Right.
When last time it felt more like I'm either going to get him or he's going to get me. That's how that felt. The first fight didn't feel like that. It felt like more like what I said.
Yeah. Probably built him up too hype.
I think so. and then I'm like watching him as he's warming up, and you know how it goes. And
then you get like buddies come in, you're like, we don't know anything about the guy. Next thing you know, we're like, he's really good at boxing.
He's really good at boxing.
Like, at the last second, you're getting told all this information.
And Danny's been in his corner for the last 3 months.
Yeah. You got guys like, damn it. He's been training with people that I train with. Then you're just like, you feel like they know all your moves at this point.
That is kind of how it went when I see it, you know, when all the pieces start adding together right before the fight, you're kind of like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you're like, well, I mean, we're fighting. This is what we're doing.
Let's do it. Yeah.
But
he's got to move past it, though.
His coach strategized that one, or however you want to say it.
Right. Put together a good game plan
and caught me light.
Got the quick shot, and then it is what it is.
I made weight though. No.
Right. You're alive though. I've seen a lot of people, very talented people, come and go in the game and get chewed up very quickly. Right. I've seen one guy, Shane. He was one of the guys from Piasaw, one of the older guys that was training with us back then. Little brick shit house, strong as fuck, dude. And his first fight, he kicked the dude. Didn't break his leg right off the kick. He kicks the dude. They go to the ground, and he's off his back, and he goes to bridge when he's off his back, and when he bridges, that's when the leg breaks right about here,
fractured a little bit,
and he goes to bridge, and the leg breaks right here, and this part of his leg goes to the mat.
That's what I always like pray for before the fight. It's just even for my opponent, I pray for no injuries
anymore. And now I'm like, damn, this sucks. You know, like I wish he would train still. I hope he's doing well, but it's just to show you that don't take it for granted. You know, to be an old man and survive in a young man's sport. We're doing something, either I'm just crazy or I'm doing something right.
No. Yeah. That's
to survive. You know, I've seen guys that went in and they had a great amateur career, went in and fought their first pro fight and didn't lose bad, but took one bad punch to the eye and lost their like part of their eyesight. Now he has to wear glasses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now he can't fight anymore. Now he doesn't fight anymore. You know, things like that. You're just like,
Yeah, I think it's why
sport.
I don't press like fighting. Like I know I'm not in my early 20s anymore. If I was in my early 20s, I probably and got into MMA, I probably would have. But it's like,
good thing is you didn't get concussed. You just got hit pretty hard, and you didn't get your leg broken.
No, that's a plus. My knee's fine. But yeah, it's like I have other plans with my martial arts career. Like my fighting career isn't the end all be all of my martial arts journey. So like, that's kind of what keeps me going. Like if I lose, win, like still doing it. Like I want to be a coach later on.
Right.
I want to coach my kids in their journey. Like
you recognize that this is just a building stone to what's great in your life.
It's my fighting chapter, like my time to put in that. And then hopefully I recognize when it's over. I think I've got enough good people, support system around me to tell me like, hey bro. And I'm not one of those people, like I'll go out on my shield while I'm fighting, but I'm not going to be not able to do it and then get in there and just get myself hurt.
Yeah.
You know? Like I know my body. I'm self-aware enough to know that.
My first couple fights, I think I had a couple conversations with, I think my sister. I was like, hey, you know, do I look like a fucking idiot out there? Am I like just looking like an idiot, like one of those people that thinks they're looking cool out there, but it's really like Fight Club and you're just getting the shit beat out of you in reality. But in my head, I feel like a gladiator, you know? And so I think having those realizations with yourself and understanding what your goals are, because the people that come into the gym and say they're going to bring a UFC belt never last. They don't even train. They usually quit the next week when they say they're bringing a UFC belt. That goal is so far away.
Yeah.
To chase a UFC belt, to make that, and of course, aim high. But if that's your only goal, you're not going to have that gratitude or that feeling of appreciation, the baby steps along the way to get to the UFC belt, right?
Yeah.
And those are the things that are the journeys, the stuff that you're going to appreciate when you get older is also, you know, not your 15 minutes in the cage. It's going to be the 10 years of working and training with people in your community, like meeting people like you and Keith, you know, and like all that stuff.
They become some of your closest friends that you don't even really know.
or you coach someone that ends up in a really shitty situation in life and they help themselves out and they save themselves, you know, like that's really cool stuff. You know?
I'd seen Dylan's post and that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Like see people like getting oh shit situations and then they were able to stay calm and then they get a hold of us afterwards and they're like, hey, thank you for showing me this and that really helped me the other night. Guys that use combat in their profession, their way of life, you know, like cops, security guards, you know, people work at hospitals and stuff like that, people that have to actually control human beings, you know, and then they learn stuff and they give you appreciation. Hey, thank you for showing me this because that saved my ass.
Once you get to use it in real time, you're like, oh shit, is this like, what's the sorcery going on?
So that makes it all worth it, you know?
That's kind of like, and then we've had a few weddings this past year and fight day, the amount of support's always good. Like I always have my buddies hit me up, but I've been going to a few weddings and I haven't seen people I went to high school with, I haven't seen in forever. And the amount of like support, like people are like, hey bro, we watched your last fight. Or like, we're really proud of you. Like the one person's like, bro, your last fight, I'm really proud of you. And I'm just like, bro, I got TKO like 36 seconds. Dog. What are you proud? But you know, I'm like, I appreciate it. But just the support's cool. And like to know, I'm like, I don't even know you people like care or like, it's cool. I don't know. It's kind of cool.
It kind of like lets you know that there's other people in the world that care about you, you know what I mean, that roots you on in the background, you know that
comes with their haters though, you know, you got like double the amount of supporters, you got like double the haters. People probably want to see you fail.
People talk smack every fight after every fight, you know, and then you got people who will talk smack on all of us, you know, like, and then they've never even taken a fight ever, but they're the ones talking smack on all the people that try to do something, you know. Those
are the people's opinions that you got to remember don't matter for sure.
It's, in the fight games too, it's a weird thing because being a coach, you get asked questions like, do you want to step in and tell someone not to try to compete? And at what point do you feel okay with yourself telling someone, hey, stop right here and train longer, you know? And that's a tough thing. It's really tough to do, because I know I was hard to talk to, you know, as a young up and coming martial artist wanting to progress in my career and being told, take a step back. You're like, I don't want to take a step back, you know, you want to go forward. So that's a tough thing to balance.
It's like it's like a tough love thing, but you got to know your student. It's like like being a dad, kind of like you got to know, because like you might run him, like if he's not ready for it, you might run him off. Like maybe one day he will appreciate that, and look back if he did run off, or maybe he will. He's mature enough to realize, like, oh yeah, maybe I need to.
You got to identify,
change my journey a little bit. Like that's what, when I'm older, I'm like, yeah, when I'm done fighting, I'm going on TRT and I'm hitting up. All I'm doing is jujitsu. Like, you guys are fucked. Like, but right now, I'm just gonna be skinny Devin for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
fight game's a trip.
So your opponent changed. We talked about your fight, but your opponent changed, right?
Yeah. You want to say the crazy fight stories?
Yeah. So give me one of these old crazy fight stories. Your fight stories or things you've seen?
Yeah, like these are real like specific to things around me. There's always crazy stuff around my fight. The first amateur year, like I said, I moved out. It seemed like I would get into a house and then book a fight, and then I'd get, you know, have to move or separate or whatever, and then be trying to scramble for a house and everything while training. It was always chaos. So one of them, we'll do the feel good story first, and then we'll do the little wild, funny story second.
Okay.
Do that. Okay. So the first one, I'm training for a fight, lined up for a fight, and the week of the fight, you know, Sunday you start cutting weight hard. That Monday morning, one of my friends, one of really good friends, passed away. Right. So he passed away, and is one of my childhood friends, you know. So it's one of my earliest friends, you know, God bless his soul, Jesse O, you know. And he passed away. So that was like, oh crap, that really sucked. And so it's fight week. You got the emotions. You're finally starting to cut weight. So you know your emotions really get kicked in too when you start cutting weight, become really crabby. So as the fight week goes along, they set up the fight or the funeral arrangements. The weigh-ins were on Thursday. The fight was on a Friday. Visitation was on Thursday. Funeral was on Friday. So here I am, like, crap. I'm like, I'm not backing out. I'm taking this fight, right? I got to keep going. Jesse would want me to go anyways, right? So the day of the weigh-ins, before the weigh-ins, I go to the visitation. So an hour before you go to weigh in, the worst point of a weight cut at your best friend's freaking visitation, bro. So I'm just like, you know, sobbing and emotionally just fighting everything, you know, and just leaning on the Lord for every bit of strength I got.
Probably had no tears to even cry.
Yeah,
so
you know,
great.
I had plenty of tears.
You found them. Yeah, you found some water.
Yeah, I ain't shy to cry. But the next day, so the fight day, it's fight day. You wake up. First, you got to go to your homie's burial, right? So I was one of the pallbearers for his burial, and we take him out to the vehicle. I don't even know what you call that vehicle.
Hearse.
Take him out to the hearse, and then we follow him over to the funeral, to the graveyard. And we go to the burying, right? And so on the way to the burial, it's like pouring down rain. So it's pouring down rain. It's a really bad storm. We do the whole service, and then I leave the service, and I got a voicemail, and it's Jim Jenkins. Jenkins has me call him. I call him, and Jenkins is like, hey, your fight's off. Your opponent, during the rainstorm, got into a car wreck. Got glass in his eye or something along that nature. I can't remember the exact what happened to him, but it was something along glass, and I think his eye. He can no longer fight now. Don't have to fight anymore. Come enjoy the night, hang out with your family. That, you know, don't worry about fighting anymore. I want to let you know, because I know you're at your buddy's funeral, blah blah blah. And so it was. I don't know. It was like one of the moments where it felt like divine intervention, like the storms and the rain, and we're all crying, and then the tears and the rains all happened all at once, and then it, you know, that happened. My opponent, I wouldn't wish harm on anybody, but he gets into a wreck, and now I don't have to fight.
Mm-hmm. It's like a load off your shoulders that you needed.
Telling how eerie it was. It was eerie. It was weird and strange. It was everything all mixed into one. And so because of that, I mean, how could you ever have a fucking worse fight camp? in this life right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, bro? Like being split up with my second baby mama, in and out of houses, trying to find a house, trying to keep up with my first daughter, you know, pay child support and do all that stuff, trying to maintain all this stuff. And then one of your best friends freaking dies. And I just seen him a couple weeks before that. And, you know, I was like doing my best to pep talk him, you know, like, hey, man, we got a lot of good things for us to do, you know. And I'm not a bullshitter, you know, I keep it straightforward. Like, hey, man, you're fucking up, you know. That's what I told him. Like, you're fucking up. We got a lot of great things and to do with our lives. We're still young, you know, we're in our late 20s, early 30s. I was like, dude, I don't want to see you dead or in jail, man. Like, get away from that scene. Come hang out with me. And he even told me, he's like, all right, I think I'm going to start training. And he was calling me. He was like, I think I'm going to start training. So I feel like I was like, you know, edging him to start getting into it, you know. And unfortunately, it just wasn't meant to be, I guess.
So
yeah. Lost him.
It's so, me and Tyrone kind of talked like that stuff's hard, but yeah, I feel like it gives you a drive in life too. Like, I don't know, they didn't get to live out their life. So like you feel like you're going to like live some for them kind of, I feel like.
And now here in my 40s, it's like, I almost thought about quitting and wrapping it up. But then now like outside forces, where you want to call it, some issues, family court stuff with my oldest son. Now I got
the ghost.
That's probably the ghost. Like, make sure you say this carefully. Choose these next words carefully. All right. So like I was saying, like motivation nowadays in my 40s, I wanted to get a win in my 40s, but after the MCL stuff, I was like, man, should I just wrap it up? But I had an issue with custody case with my oldest son where some foul stuff's happening to where the other party is trying to take my son's like visitation time away from me. And I am the custodian parent, have a majority of parenting time. So basically trying to take my son away from me altogether, not even give me visitation. That was what I was faced with back in June. And so like 45 days, not having my son and like just listening to the outside voices of being fed information that, you know, he hates you, he doesn't want to be with you, and like almost believing all that stuff. Like it really motivated me to like drive that passion to like, you can't give up right now. Kind of like I was back in my 20s when I'm like, you can't give up right now. You got to push through this, go to work, keep training, do everything you can in your power as much as you can for your family, you know? And so now I'm like in some John Wick mode, bro. Like someone's trying to take my family from me again, you know? And I'm like, I'm not letting it happen. So if I got to fight 12 fights, I'm going to fight 12 fights. If I got to work 12 jobs, I'm about to work 12 jobs. I'm going to do whatever I can to provide and give my family the best opportunities, you know? And so I'm fucking pumped, bro. Like
that dad motivation.
Yeah. This is not a 40-year-old man who's just trying to collect a check. No, I don't make that much money from fighting.
This ain't your retirement fight.
This is my retirement. This is my 12, 13, 15, no, over 15 years of experience of drama and training and just pushing through it to craft this masterpiece, right? That I hope I could paint in the cage January 17th. I want to go out there and paint just that masterpiece. And just like a musician, a good musician can put their feelings into their art. I hope when I get out there that you guys feel that John Wick inside of me fighting for my family and understand this guy is, you know, he did it. He put his emotions into this fight, and then I can retire in the sunset. Or maybe take 4 more fights. No, I'm just kidding. Fight till my 50s like Anderson Silva.
Just do some cool shit, bro. Just do some stuff that'll make your kids proud.
Right.
I posted that one thing. It's like, do the stuff that make your 12-year-old self proud. Like,
fuck yeah.
Before you were corrupted. No, yeah, I'm excited, bro. Like you're not an old man. Like that's for sure. Right. Like your age, you might be in your 40s. I would have called you old in my 20s probably, but I've sparred with a lot of people in the area and bounced around, and yeah. You're not some old man who just
stay young by choking out all the youth in the town.
So hopefully this dude don't think you're just some old man, because he's gonna be in for a fucking rude awakening.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. He's tough. He's gonna bring he brings forward pressure. He's not a bitch. He's gonna come forward and not gonna hide from the fight. So that's what I need.
So I think it's
someone to come in.
I'll watch some of his fights. He's kind of a scrappy wrestler. Yeah. From what I've seen, his jiu-jitsu. I think your jiu-jitsu is better than his for sure. You go with enough scrappy wrestlers, I really think I think that's all gonna, the ground stuff's gonna nullify a little bit. I mean, obviously I want to see you get a submission,
right?
But I think where you're gonna stand out is on the feet against this guy. He's real pressure heavy, I think, and real wrestle heavy. And like I said, you're used to that. But I didn't see anything out of his hands that in any of his fights that I watched that were like, ooh, like, you know, just a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I get it.
So
yeah, I don't want to speak too much because I don't want to give up my thoughts on how I feel about the fight. But I'm excited for the matchup and excited for the honor to be able to compete at this age and at this point in my life, and to fight for Shamrock under the Shamrock umbrella, you know, and in the new ballroom.
Dude, the card itself is looking pretty dope too.
Got a lot of good fighters on it.
Let's see, it's who's the kid? Why can't I think of it? I'm gonna blank. It's Devin Bird.
Oh, you're thinking about a Bird and Duncan matchup.
Dude, that's gonna be so fire.
Yeah.
I haven't trained with Duncan, but he fought Jameson, right? Am I correct? We've added each other on Facebook and have talked a little bit that fights, and he seems like a pretty cool dude. I
feel like we lived around the same area. We'd be training with those guys. They just seem way like you can see a lot of a fighter when they fight.
And he's like his style is pretty crazy. Like he's a fun fighter to watch.
At that last fight I watched Duncan, there was this moment after the fight. I was actually watching it from the crowd. And you ever watch the movie with Brad Pitt when they were Snatch? The old school movie Snatch with Brad Pitt when they were like gypsies traveling around. They like did some like illegal fight betting, and he was fighting and stuff. Like there's this moment where like Brad Pitt in the end of the movie's like he's supposed to take a knee or supposed to take a loss in the fight for illegal gambling, and he doesn't. And he's laying there, he's almost knocked out, and like the whole mood of the movie changes and the music changes, and he doesn't give up, and he knocks the guy out with one shot. And he's just standing there in sweat, and the crowd's going crazy, and you just see the dog in the guy. Like I felt like I seen the dog in Duncan that day. I was like, oh shit, this dude, he's tough. He's a tough dude. I'm excited to see where he goes with his career.
So I like him a lot. And then I used to train with Devin at Wolf's Den. He was their wrestling coach at the time.
Devin's tough as nails too. Right?
He's moved to St. Charles now, MMA. But fuck, dude, his wrestling. He was a Lindenwood wrestler. We've had some sparring rounds together, and I won't lie, he's fucking held me in side control and battered my fucking shit for like 5 minutes. Like I was trying to get up. That's why that match is gonna be fucking fire.
Yeah, and they're fighting for a title too, so that's dope.
I'm excited to watch that one.
Have the shit hype. The new ballroom has a sweet setup for the fighters. You can actually watch the fights from back in the fight prep area.
Okay,
so that's pretty sick.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to have a new venue to fight in. Yeah.
Now I'm at a venue where we actually got areas to train and warm up in, and I've been at venues where you have zero room to warm up. You're like like I said, in the driveway of the venue, in the parking lot, trying to warm up before fights.
That was like my weird transition into jiu-jitsu from wrestling. It's like wrestling, no matter where you were, there was a warm-up mat, like somewhere. And like get to the jiu-jitsu tournaments and you're like, and it's like just a little strip and you're like, what the fuck am I supposed to do over here? Can't slam anybody. I need to pick some people up and slam them,
How am I
going
to practice wrestling? There's zero mat space.
I've been thrown off the mats a couple of times in some jiu-jitsu match trying to hit a blast double, and there's just no room.
I remember the sub-only challenge where the guy was doubling you and you kind of just reversed it and flipped him right up off for you as he shot in on you, and you guys just like flipped right out of the ring.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was I weakened that dude up for you so you could triangle him. I fought that dude 3 fucking times that morning. We just kept versing each other, no gi and gi, and I'm like, fuck. And then you whooped his ass, and I just wanted to be like, I brought him down to 50% for you.
I appreciate the help. It was a tag team effort there. Putting work on.
Yeah, I remember watching you. I was like standing right above you when you triangled that dude, because I was like, get this motherfucker for me.
Now for the wild, crazy story. If you're ready for that.
Yeah, I'm ready.
It's a little nasty. It's funny. It's a little bit of everything. I was cornering Chappell, and Chappell's awesome dude. But Chappell's the type of dude that doesn't ever show up to the gym and then gets offered to take a fight last minute, and he takes the fights. And so he was hitting me up to help him corner him. So I'm just basically a fighter, wasn't coaching, but just helping a friend out, helping corner him for a fight. So it's one of my early being a coach stages, so I'm coaching him. We get to the venue, we're warming up, and it's a shitty early day venue, and we're in the kitchen, a back kitchen. So we're like on a kitchen floor, basically trying to warm up. And he misplaces his mouth guard. So his mouthpiece is missing. It's like 2 or 3 fights before his fight. So we're like, you got to get your stuff ready. We need a mouthpiece. Now we're worried. Do I have a mouthpiece? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? And we're looking everywhere. Can't find it. At this venue, the bathrooms we had to use, we had to walk outside the kitchen to Johnny on the spot, right? Because that's where we came from. This is the type of stuff we had to do back in the day. You go outside to a Johnny on the spot to use the restroom outside of a kitchen that you're getting ready for a fight. But we go back there, and he's like, man, I was puking in the Johnny on the spot a little bit ago. I'm thinking maybe it fell off my ear into the Johnny on the spot.
Oh, no.
Right? So I'm like, well, it's gone, dude. So, 15 minutes go by, another fight goes by. Now we're like 1 fight away, and we don't have a mouthpiece. And I'm like, dude, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And so I'm like, dude, we got to figure something out. So I'm like, all right, man, I'm going to take one for the team. So now anyone that ever says that I'm not going to go to the end of the world for my team, fuck off, because I did this for Chapel, and he wasn't even one of my paid students. He was just a friend, right? So I go back to this Johnny in the spot. I took my hand and I wrapped it like I wrapped it with trash bags, 2 trash bags, wrapped it my hand really far deep. And I've got like this spatula thing at the end of my hand. And so I stick my hand down inside of the Johnny on the spot with flashlights. And I'm like just skimming the surface of the toilet and just looking for something to float to the top. Bro, that is the nastiest, grossest thing ever to do. Did not find the mouth guard. Thank the Lord, did not find the mouth guard. What do you put it in? I don't know. We never will know if he's going to put it in or not. But he was planning on putting that dirty-ass mouthpiece back in his mouth. And
if you would have put a little hand soap on that bitch and washed it off, I bet.
How nasty is that to be willing to put a mouthpiece in your mouth? And how nasty it is that I was willing to put my hands inside of a Johnny on the spot to help you out. Now, and then he found the damn mouthpiece like 5 minutes right before we walked out. He was like, "Oh, here it is."
Now, would it have been better if you, like, for not him, no, but if you would have found it, would it have been like more coach of the year or corner of the year?
Yeah,
because you did find it,
right? Because I went in for no cause.
But at the same time, it's like, since you didn't find it, I think you're even more of like, you get more props. That's fucking gross.
Top
bro.
That, coaches.
I could see like maybe like if my mouth, say I was pissing or it was a clean toilet. And my fucking
maybe a clean toilet.
Like there's nothing in it. Even my own pee exactly. Then maybe
no, but maybe no. I don't even think I could.
Your main event though, and you got a couple grand on it.
Okay,
you got to pop that fucking mouthpiece
in. We got to clean that out really good.
But a Johnny on the spot that every nasty motherfucker who's shitting that has been at this restaurant, all the workers,
and you just puked in it. Oh god,
no way, bro.
No way.
I'm faking diarrhea and pulling out of my fight.
Fake a falling in the backstage. It was the kitchen. It was the greasy kitchen.
There's this oil on the floor.
Yeah,
that's a wild one.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, you deserved a participation trophy or something for that one.
Yep, never again will I do that. Nope. Never again. So now I'm like, you better bring 2 mouthpieces to these venues because otherwise.
So you told me some fucked up stories about your poop digging.
There's some wild stories.
We'll save some more because I'm sure you'll be a frequent guest.
Yeah, why not? Get some other.
Yeah.
Get some other podcasts going.
So I got the one thing mixer I have right now is like a two-way. They make like a 4-way. I want to get like a 4-way to where we can get a couple of dudes in here. We could do like after fight breakdowns and or just watch some fights and bullshit while we're in here.
Right. Get multiple people in here. And that'd be cool.
Vault it up.
Keep growing. Keep making podcasts.
But yeah, cool. So
gives people the chance to talk. And
that's what I think people like it. And it's once if you're doing it with people you're used to, like you did pretty good. I knew me and you would just kind of talk. Like it's not, you don't have to pry stuff out of you. If some of the younger guys, they're not used to it. You got to really question them.
My grandma's blessed me with a gift of that. It's been passed on.
I'm like the opposite. I'm quiet until I get on and then I'll start blabbing. I
was super secluded in school. Like I was super shy. And so everybody knows me from school is like, how the fuck is John fighting? Because I was a really shy, soft-spoken person. And maybe that's why I chose fighting because I was more of the bully type of person growing up, and I didn't want to be bullied anymore. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to empower myself with something.
That's kind of how I was always skinny and quiet. I mean, like I cared a lot about what people thought too much. I think a lot of kids, obviously as a kid you do. I kind of grew out of that, but that's how I didn't like being bullied. That was my first fight I ever got into was like 2 days after I got permission to stand up for myself.
Nice.
And I was like 4th grade, swelled the kid's eye out of his eye socket.
You did good.
Yeah, and I had so many teachers. It was the mouthy kid, the smart ass. Back then, I had so many teachers pull me aside and were like, "You did a good job." I mean, because he came to school and like his shit was like swollen shut. They were like, and I'm this quiet kid that never really like talks much, I was just like, yeah. It wasn't, and he wasn't who I was getting bullied by an older kid, and me and this kid were actually friends, and he just got permission on the wrong. He messed with me on the wrong day when I had permission to whoop some ass.
Finally, let him loose.
Just let it out on him.
Finally get it open up. That's a good feeling.
But yeah, I've always been that way. Most of my fights, most of my altercations that have happened outside of the gym have been because I was standing up for somebody who couldn't stand up for themselves. I hate, that's one thing. I hate fake tough guys and I hate bullies. So like, those are two things that's why I don't go out, because to the bars, there's a lot of fake tough guys and a lot of bullies. So I feel like I'm like just putting myself in a situation to fucking
around people that I don't want to be around. Yeah.
So that was a lot of my 20s. I feel like
my very first childhood fight, I was probably like 7 or 8. It was with one of the neighborhood kids, and we got into a fight for whatever reason. I don't even consider it a real fight. It was just my first. He punched me, I punched him, type of thing. He kicked me in the nuts and punched me with a hockey glove. This kid was at an early age fighting dirty. I'm thinking we're just gonna do what I see on Ninja Turtles, like do some crazy kicks or something. No, he kicked me in the nuts and punched me with the gloves, and I was like, oh shit. So at that point on, I was like, fighting is, no rules in fighting. You gotta be ready.
No doubt. When you see two people that have different mindsets like that in fighting, it kind of gets scary sometimes.
Like, damn, that's fucked up.
You guys are different levels.
Yeah. So I stayed away from that shit in the early age. It wasn't until like teenies I started getting confidence again and wanting to really protect myself.
I had that fight in 4th grade. That kind of got me through elementary school. Middle school, I got in a fight. I fought 2 dudes like back to back. Like rocked one of them, and one of them we had a pretty good scrap. Once word got around about that, nobody really fucked with me. And then I got to high school, and Cody had to whoop a couple older kids' ass because they were like, the typical like black belt. I got a belt on too, like shit, and Cody was super reserved, and so we did the old everybody left lunch and drove out to a cornfield, and he fucking tuned some kid up. He choked him purple at one point, and then headbutted him a couple times. Shit. Just like excellent. Right. We posted on YouTube. Principals end up seeing it, and half the school, like people left that they were in class and they left to go to the bathroom and just headed out for lunch to watch the fight. And so they brought Cody in and had him like watch the video, and he's like, it was pretty funny. Good time, good times back then. Now you'd be in jail probably and all kinds of stuff. But that was basically like high school fighting for us.
Right. Yeah. So with me in high school, I had 2 fights. One of them was, don't remember which one was first. One of them was a kid that was like picking on my sister. I had a little sister, and she was picking on him. So she was probably being a little shit starter herself. But she calls me up on the phone, and she's like, there's this guy here, and he's saying, fuck Roseners. One of these old school childhood battles in high school. And so I could hear him in the background saying, like, yeah, fuck Roseners. I'm like, oh, shit. And so basically hunted this dude down. Like, first I had to figure out who he was. I had to figure out where he walked home from school. And then I just met him and was like, we're fighting. It was dirty where I just walked up on him and we just started fighting. It wasn't like, hey, you were talking to my sister. I'm that guy he was on the phone with. It was more so, hey, remember fuck Roseners?
Well, that's how
we had to fight. And so we fought, and it was a scrappy fight. I got the best of him. People will say that it was because I kind of cheap shotted him. I did cheap shot him. But,
that's how
it's a street fight. And I wasn't about to get kicked in the nuts and hit with a hockey glove ever again.
Dude, 85% of street fights start with a cheap shot most of the time.
So I'm going to make sure I win this fight. And we were like in a little, like in between a fence and a wall, like a terrain wall and a fence, 4 or 5 feet. So we're like kind of bouncing off the cage and stuff. So it was almost like my early cage days, I guess you would say.
That's how the one was. I fought on that bridge at the Godfrey Corn Maze. And I had him in a front headlock, and we were up against that fucking. I thought I was like, should I just toss him off? That's probably not a good idea.
This is some bootleg UFC stuff right now.
But yeah, dude, the scraps with your cousins and all those stuff growing up there.
Yeah, to get me prepared.
Nowadays, I feel like it sounds bad. Like obviously, you don't want kids scrapping, but I feel like a lot of them there was fun in that. Obviously, it was not good, but
you see the value now why your older cousins toughen us up.
Good stories, at least.
Yeah, I definitely have those.
That's how my 3-year-old, it's like he's got cousins like all around his age, and they're all they do is, and I'm the uncle. Like I show up and everybody's on their fight stance trying to fight me. So
yeah,
kind of nice. They're all going to be killers.
The second fight, it was I was dating this girl, and she cheated on me with this guy, right? And so I was like, oh, back then you're like, you just mess with my girl. You touched my girlfriend, man. That's messed up, man. I didn't even get to mess with her. I didn't even get to do that with her. And you're doing that with her. Like, no, this is messed up. We got to fight now. Because, we're stupid men. But anyways, so I wanted to fight him. And he was a senior. And so I was a freshman. He was a senior. And back then at Alton High, they had a pit. So like in the pit, that's where all like the kids had their hangout areas. Like the seniors had their designated parking spots. So like it would be like their little area they'd hang out. So it was like the seniors section in the pit in high school. I had to go walk down into that pit, into the senior section, right, as a freshman, and fight this dude who was a lot taller than me, like over 6 foot tall senior. So like I had to hype myself up. Of course, you got all your homies. They're probably just sending me off thinking I'm going to get my ass kicked. And they probably would have helped me if I would have got my ass kicked. But I was going down there to handle business. And I actually just double-legged him, took him to the ground, and just stood on top of him and just ground and pounded. And I remember punching this dude, and then because it's on school campus, so I'm trying to be quick to get out of there because you don't want to get in trouble. And I remember one of my homies, Scott, shout out Scott, he was yelling at the dude's face, how's it feel to get your ass beat by a little dude? That's one of the only things I remember out of all the shit that was said. It's only like one of the things I remembered was me being on top of the dude, like, and just ground and pounding, serving him up some G&P, and then my homie Scott being like, you're getting your ass kicked by a little dude. That's what I probably walked away, was like, don't touch my girl ever again.
The little dude is always fun to have. Like ours was my buddy Ryan, and we'd usually push him into somebody at a party or something. He was our like 130-pound wrestler, and he kind of had like Justin Bieber hair at the time. So people would be like, I'm gonna, they think they'll whoop this dude's ass, and we'd make him fight like guys that are 100 pounds heavier than him. And he had a mean streak in him too. So like he would just fucking dog walk these dudes, dude. And we'd all just be sitting there laughing. We're like, he's the lightest of us. Like, but he's really the meanest out of all of us. But we did that shit a lot. All right, homie. Well, I guess we'll bring this to an end.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been an honor.
What's the date again? January
17th, Shamrock 372. Get your tickets. The earlier you get the tickets, the closer you will be to the action. Shout out to Strategic Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for lending us the space here at the old Taylor
setup. Come watch this man paint a beautiful martial canvas.
All right, and tune into this man's podcast. Big things coming in the future for this guy.
Thanks, homie. Thanks for being here.
Appreciate
See you, homie.